I have gone through and made some different marks. You're going to see these red highlights, and then I'm sorry, I'm going to go quickly down here. You're also going to see some green highlights. The green highlights are things that go more toward what I would consider to be the main idea of each of the paragraphs. You're going to notice that I don't see a lot of green highlights in here, and that's because I think that your main ideas are not super easy to find in here for the reader, and I'm going to tell you how to fix that. It's not really hard. It's about trying to figure out how to get a controlling idea into each of the paragraphs so you can remind the reader what your major message is for this essay. The red highlights indicate things that are unclear. They could be grammatical things, or it could just be adding some more information to help with clarity or coherence of the whole essay, or just problem areas that I had questions about. On a different note, I do want to remind you to, when you're doing formal papers, that you need to add a heading that would be your your name, the date, the class name, and the assignment title. And then this right here is your title, and it's pretty good. I would say that the word one is, let's see, the word one is vague, and maybe intentionally so. Um, I just wonder if you could play. Could you play with the words adventure Mondays? I mean, I just think that's such a great title for this piece. That's just my opinion. So that's totally stylistic. You can take my advice or not. So now, one of the things I will say is that you do have a tendency to be conversational in this essay, and conversation is great, which means you're probably pretty easy to talk to and a good communicator. But in an academic essay, it doesn't always work. It comes across as too informal and sometimes a little bit cliched, which means that we have a tendency to overuse phrases and uh, wording that we rely on in casual conversation, and it doesn't necessarily work in an academic place. And so you have to dig deeper for vocabulary. So for example, this one right here is one of those kind of conversational cliched moments. I could not care less. But if you read it in writing, and actually read it literally, I could not care less actually kind of negates itself. So you have to kind of change that to I didn't care about adventures and hiking. I couldn't, I don't think, I think could not care less. It's kind of like, um, it's like, I can't explain it. It just, it's poor grammar is what it is. And so I just think we need to change the wording in terms of the verb there. Um, I like, for example, in this sentence here, I hated hiking. Like, you've got this really strong verb here. This one is not a strong verb. It's kind of these auxiliary verbs, and you've got that negative thrown in there. So, I hated hiking. Um, when I was young, in fact, okay, here's just my personal opinion. I would just take all of this out. Um, well, maybe for wait, except for let me cancel that. Um, when I was young, take out this part right here. When I was young, comma, I hated hiking. I hated adventure. I hated adventures and nature and hiking. I just wanted to stay home and watch the Disney Channel. You kind of see how that works a little, it's a little bit stronger. I thought nature looked the same everywhere, no matter how far away from home I got. I didn't yet know. Um, and so this right here would probably go at the beginning of the sentence. Yet I didn't know about the orange-toned rocks of Zion, the endless evergreens of Washington State, or the crystal blue glacier water of British Columbia. It and then what is it? So what is it. Uh, you can't start off a sentence with a pronoun like that without having got an antecedent. An antecedent is the noun or the noun phrase that precedes the pronoun. So what all started, it all began or all started on the first Monday of my third grade summer. So my change of attitude started on the first Monday of my third grade summer. To be more specific, the first Adventure Monday of my third grade summer. Okay, and then when you get into this part here, this all works so great. Such good visual detail. These little purple bubbly marks, these are just places where I'd like you to start new paragraphs. Okay, so because you've got this kind of long a descriptive place, and I actually think that you want to break it up into some smaller paragraphs. So because it's kind of a timeline of events, and it's a very narrow timeline where it's all kind of happening on this first track that you guys went out on. And then, so you've got several different paragraphs we're breaking up into. So that's all that those mean. Now, why would I hike 4 miles to see a lake when okay, so I highlighted that because I first wanted to tell me what lake you were going to, but then as I got down here, you mentioned Mount Rainier National Park. I wonder if up here, when you first get into the Subaru, and she turned to us and began to give us a long lecture about how we live in such a beautiful place and we need to learn to appreciate our surroundings. She continued to introduce us to what she was calling Adventure Mondays. Every Monday, she continued what she was calling Adventure Mondays. And so that, okay, what you want to do here is you need to insert a conjunction. So it'd be like, she continued to introduce us to what she was calling Adventure Mondays, and that every Monday we were going to go on an outdoor adventure. Today, and this is where you would insert, and then I would say to where. Okay, so where are you going today? Now, whether or not she actually told you that at this point, this is a good point to tell the reader where you're going. And today we were heading to Mount Rainier National Park. Okay, and then when you come back down here, the reader already knows that where you're at, and these other little pieces about trees and lakes and mountains make more sense. It gives the reader kind of that clearer timeline. So in here, you also have the potential to do some dialogue, and I think that you're kind of starting to do dialogue, but not really. Dialoguing would be actually like writing it out, like with quotation marks and he said, she said, using kind of rolling our eyes. My brother sarcastically commented, quote, what did he say? That kind of a thing. And so you should play around with dialogue a little bit because it would be kind of fun. I think my favorite part in your whole essay, I don't know why, is this sentence right here, about these sentences right here, that everything was going wrong and your chocolate chips were melted. I don't know if that's just resonates with me personally, but I just think it's such a great image, and it just really represents how this day sucks for you as a third grader. So, and then this right here, a feeling I never thought would come to me crept into my head. I missed Adventure Mondays. Now, you've got you've got the right idea, and I think this is an important sentence because it goes to the overall focus, but it's not very clear. So this is important to the overall theme of the essay, but the sentence is not. But the sentence is unclear, and it's mainly unclear grammatically the way you have it organized. So what I would recommend is that you say something like this: the whole summer we didn't miss one Adventure Monday. And maybe you need to insert some feeling there. Like, how did you feel about that? Did your attitude change, or did you kind of hate it all that whole summer? Um, and my brother and I dragged our feet all summer long. When I was excited for school to start up again, just to not have to do Adventure Mondays with mom. But then a feeling crept up upon me that I never thought would happen when I was in school. I missed Adventure Mondays. You kind of get that? So there's this juxtaposition between we really hated it, and then suddenly when you didn't have it, you missed it. And there was no way I actually, okay, so this right here is that conversational thing I was talking about. There was no way. That's something that we say when we're talking to each other. I think that you just want to take that out and say, I actually missed the hot summer mornings spent on exposed dirt trails. I pushed the thought out of my brain as if I was in denial. Somehow that thought made its way back into my mind during a timed multiplication test at school. My palms were sweaty. And then this really works well, and this I just want you to add some quotation marks around that. And then again, we have another group of sentences here that these sentences go on to be really important to the main idea. Little did I know my realization that I did care about adventure would take me much further in life than 9 times 8 equals 72 ever would. I love that sentence. Turns out going on adventures was kind of fun. Now, this is that conversational thing again. We don't want to do that because it sounds like you're talking to me, and we're not talking, we're writing to, you're writing to me. You're writing to your audience. Okay, so little did I know I would probably go ahead and take out this my realization. Little did I know that I did care about adventures, that I did care about, that I did, let's see. Little did I know that adventures, there we go. Okay. So we want to take off that I did care. Oops. Oh, sorry. Where did it go? Oh, shoot. Let me find your paper. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me just get this larger. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So we want to take this as little did I know I did little did I know adventure would take me much further in life than 9 times 8 equals 72 ever would. Okay? Going on adventures was fun. Don't say kind of. It was fun. You had a realization. As I sat in class realizing that I did care about the views, I did I and as I sat in class realizing that I did care about the views, I would try to do some parallel structure here. I did care about the views and the hikes to the lake, and I saw why seeing the mountain in person is different than seeing it on Google Images. Okay? Um, while I was having all these realizations, my brother was down in the hall. Hey, at least one of us caught. Now, this is conversational too, but it kind of works because it's a concluding sentence and it connects to over here. I love this sentence also, and I think that you really do well with your concluding parts. Okay, I don't want you to talk about being literate. Becoming competent as an adventurer has been a big part of my life because remember, literacy is competence in a particular knowledge, and it will continue to be as I continue to grow up. Now you've got continue and continue, and it will continue to be a part of my life as I grow. Activities like hiking, climbing, mountain biking, kayaking, whitewater rafting, and bungee jumping aren't everyone's cup of tea, comma,